right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let me share this one real quick. Um, y'all see the caption? Yeah, the Goldsboro City Council. Let me pull this up real quick. The Goldsboro City Council has decided to have a special meeting to address the gun violence here in the city. And it's a great idea, it's a noble idea. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. Y'all bear with me. This is a new thing that I'm trying to do here, so hopefully I can get this thing shared. And if you will, share it as well. If y'all will. But we're gonna have a conversation, man. A lot of people have been reaching out to me about what could be done. So we're gonna try to talk about this today. Real quick, let me share it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Because this is a conversation that we need to have. And actually, I'm going to open my phone lines up so y'all can call in and, join the discussion. Or you can, just leave your opinions in the comments. But apparently, the Goldsboro City Council has scheduled a meeting, and it is going to be for Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at 6:30 at the City Hall. Now, they're going to be discussing, I guess, the problem that everybody has been enduring in this town for quite some time, but more recently, within the past 2 weeks, there have been a rash of shootings in which several people have lost their lives, several people have been seriously injured, and everyone is, pretty much chiming in with opinions. First of all, let me just once again say condolences to the families of those who have suffered this gun violence. And so, we definitely want to offer, once again, just condolences to all those who've lost their lives. But there's a lot of, people chiming in with, I guess, solutions or input about what could be done. So I got about 5 things, and most of these things I've thought about, but a lot of people have said them on social media, and I'm going to go over them. But the main thing, once again, shout out to the city council for wanting to address this issue. Let me turn my volume down here. But wanting to address this issue, and that's good, but unfortunately, a lot of the city council members are not directly affected by this violence. Directly, most of the city councils don't live in the neighborhoods that the violence is taking place at. They're not walking out of their doors, most of them, and being subjected to those things. And so while they are putting together or trying to put together a plan, it is people like us, people who are in the city, people who are know the families and know the injured, that are really it's up to us basically. Those are six people on the council, and while they can give their input, they can give their advice, they can give their perspective. There are only six people, but this community is made up of 50,000 Goldsboro, 50,000 the county of Wayne, 100,000. So there are some things that we can do. Most importantly, of course, if you're a believer, prayer is the main thing we want to do in this situation. I've been praying a lot about this situation, but of course the Bible says faith or prayer without works is dead. That's like you praying to God, hey God, let some food grow out of the ground, but you got some seeds, you got some soil, and you got some water in your house, and you don't go outside and plant those seeds. God has given us opportunities as humans to intervene in this issue. So the first thing that, and it might be a unpopular opinion, but a lot of people feel this way. And the first thing I think to do is start policing our own communities. And by that, I don't mean riding around with guns and stopping people. What I mean is pretty much what some people would call snitching. And some people, I heard one lady say, on her Facebook post, everybody should start telling. And we know that there's a stigma in our community about that issue, where people don't want to tell if they see something bad for whatever reason, whether it's social conditioning, social engineering, fear, whatever the case may be. People don't feel the need to tell when they see something. But that is a major problem, and there are several reasons why. But the first thing that telling does is prevent people from feeling like they can continuously commit these acts and get away with it. If there's continuous shootings for years and years, I think it's like 94 unsolved murders within a period of time in Goldsboro. And a lot of people have insight or have knowledge on the perpetrators of these murders. But if they can continuously operate without fear of punishment or retribution, then what is stopping them from doing it or keep doing it? Now, and that's true too. Like, they always have these meetings and conferences, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But the main thing, with telling is also you're gonna possibly save that person's life. Now, we know in this small community, when a shooting happens, when a robbery happens, when those things, 5 minutes later, everyone, if you're involved in the know, people names starts going around. So, and people will try to protect that individual. But if you protect that individual, you can protect them from the police. But what is stopping that victim? What is stopping the families of that victim from going out and retaliating against that individual? Nothing, because you know why? That other person knows, okay, well, if I go shoot this person who shot my friend, then nobody's going to tell on me because they didn't tell on him. And then it becomes a continuous cycle of retaliation here, retaliation there, retaliation here, retaliation there. And then, we have the remorseful attitude when that individual who has been, known to, perpetrate violence, something happens to him, all because he didn't, we didn't protect him by letting it be known that this is the individual who's done this. And I'm speaking in general. I'm not speaking on any particular situation. All of these solutions, all of this insight is in a general manner. Not saying any of this pertains to any particular situation, but I think that's one of the first things to do is start policing ourselves. Once again, we as men see You may see a group of young men walking around flashing guns. We gotta step up. Hey man, what y'all about to do, man? Nah, y'all can't do that around here. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it was when we were young. We had some sort of respect for the elders. And as I was talking to someone last night, they said, well, people don't have respect for the others because we don't demand or we don't command that respect. We don't exhibit a behavior that warrants respect from the younger generation. And so once again, I put that on even my generation. A lot of the younger brothers and sisters who are out there committing some of these acts, they are, children of some of my childhood friends or childhood associates. So um, once again, we have to take a bigger responsibility. And once again, yeah, call in 919-587-7782. But we have to take a bigger responsibility in this situation. Now, the second one that someone mentioned is the increased police presence. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the mayor is in he's in talks with the sheriff and the police station to form some type of task force to help curb the violence, which is once again it's well warranted, right? But the only thing that happens with increased police presence is increased arrests, increased instances of people being stopped or, individuals who may be in those areas but not doing anything, instances of them being possibly harassed because these police officers are focusing on a targeted area. Now, as we all know, these shootings has begun to happen in unconcentrated areas, meaning grocery stores and restaurants. So the main thing about this is people don't shoot when the police are around. And through all of my years of living, all of my years in the streets, telling this part one, criminals have operated with impunity for so long, it's assumed nothing will happen when we tell. Laws should be enforced, not negotiated. I certainly agree. And I appreciate that comment. That's telling is like, once again, you can't allow the Bible in the scripture, it says if someone does wrong, if your son does wrong, and they stoned them back in the days, but of course we don't do that now. But they said you put that evil away from you, meaning, okay, get that evil out of the community. And it's such a stigma, when people want to do the right thing. It's not snitching, it's doing the right thing. And as I also always mention, there's a difference between snitching and telling. Now, if you see somebody riding down the streets with AKs and they're shooting up blocks and they hit an innocent kid, that's not snitching. Those individuals need to go to jail. Snitching is, once again, if I get caught selling drugs and the police get me in the office and I say, well, I don't want to go to jail. I know this person who sells drugs, and you can go find them there, and there. That is snitching. Or another example, if me and my friend commit a robbery and they so happen to catch my friend, they don't catch me, but my friend says, look, I didn't do this by myself. If you cut me a time or you cut me a deal, I'm going to tell you where Richard is. He has the gun and everything. That is snitching. But, when people are running around killing and shooting innocent people, that is not snitching by informing, the authorities of this person causing death and destruction in the community. But back to the police thing, once again, that's noble, but people don't shoot. Like I was getting at, all of my years, I've never seen a shooting stopped by police. I've never seen police thwart a shooting. I've seen people was about to get into it and then they waited till the police passed, and then, or they met each other on the other side of town, then they got it on. So increased police presence, once again, is a noble idea, but only thing that is going to do is, once again, result in more stop and frisk, as they used to say in New York, which may be a good thing because they may catch some of these individuals with these guns and be able to get the guns off the street and, get the individuals, if they are holding guns that have been used in shootings or killings, then, that may be a way of furthering the investigation on some other matters. The third thing that I heard, and I don't know if this was true, I seen somebody post this on their page. They were mentioning that Goldsboro has instituted a curfew. And I think, and I don't know if this is true or not, but upon further thought, like the saying goes, when seconds matter, the police are only minutes away. That's funny. And that's facts, though. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely facts. But um, so then we have, once again, the curfew. Now, a curfew, and I think, they mentioned, the curfew was for those 18 and younger not to be out by a certain time. But of course, people that are older than 18 are involved in some of these things too. So that wouldn't really curb the violence, in my opinion. But most importantly, as somebody said, um, okay, he said, when I see increased in patrols in my neighborhood, I also see a drastic reduction in activity. No one gets arrested, but patrols give a heads up. Criminals do not like to be seen, and that's a fact. That's something. Like I said, it's a good thing. But once again, you don't, you don't, you don't see police stopping them. But we definitely either relocated, and that's another thing too. The criminals are going to do crime wherever. If the police are in one place, then we're going to be doing something in another place. But as far as the curfew go, that may be a good idea, and it may seem, far-fetched, and it may seem uncomfortable, but yeah, don't just do it for the 18-year-olds, do it for everybody. Like, if everybody in the city has to be, definitely, Reagan, era TV, we got to incorporate change within us. They can't do it for us. And that was my number one statement of us policing ourselves. We have to enforce it in our own communities and say, look, we're not going to put up with this, no matter whose son you are, no matter who nephew you are, no matter who no matter if you're my own child, my own flesh and blood. We not going to put up with that no more. And so, but the curfew thing, if everybody has to be in at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, that makes everybody uncomfortable. Everybody's uncomfortable. So sooner or later, they're going to be like, because we all know, once again, these shootings are happening in broad daylight. Well, sooner or later, they be like, I'm tired of going in at 10. I'm tired of getting stopped because I wanted to go to the store and, I got thirsty and I got to pay this fine. If everybody is tired of being under a martial law type statute, then once again, they're going to be more amped to say, okay, what do we got to do to get out from under this? Okay, well, look, yeah, I know who did this. I know who did that. I know who did that. So let us get all back on to normal life. As you've seen, from the past couple of days, normal people were going around, trying to get breakfast, trying to get groceries, and, this violence is occurring in those situations. The other thing, which I am, once again on the fence about, somebody mentioned a gun buyback program. Now, I've heard of those things happening in other cities. I don't know how successful they are, but then again, there's a catch-22. If people feel like they are in a war, I don't think that they are going to, go to a location and sell their gun, in which they feel that they need to protect themselves. On the other side of the coin, people are untrustworthy of the authorities. They say, hey, well, yeah, we're having this gun buyback program, but when you come and bring that gun, then, they're going to have their eye on you. Either if it's why you there, or, after you leave. Okay, well, we know, we got to watch this guy because he has a gun, an illegal gun. And then, of course, if you turn the gun in and it has, be found to be committed or used in the commission of a crime, then what are they going to do? Are they going to give you amnesty? And which again, that's not helping the situation. Once again, I can't see a bunch of people, people who are living on the wrong side of the law saying, yeah, okay, they're having a buyback program, yeah, let me go take my gun. And most of these, these young, they got money, so they don't need money, unless they fall on hard times. But I've never been a part of a gun buyback program. I've never had the opportunity, for anybody to, say, we're going to buy your gun or whatever. So um, that is something that, may be something to think about. Now, also, and this thing is once again not directed to any particular individual, but a lot of people were saying on Facebook, and other, even people I talk to, it starts at home. It starts at home, meaning better parenting. That's what I hear. Better parenting. It starts at home. It's the parents' fault, and of course, this is not blaming any particular parent in any particular situation. I'm speaking on general things that people are saying, in which some ways I agree, in some ways I don't agree. Because once again, I came up in a two-parent Christian home, and by the age of 13, I was smoking weed. By the age of 15, I was selling weed. 16, selling crack, buying guns, shooting guns, robbing, all of those things. So that is, and I guess I'm an outlier, but I know a lot of my friends who came from that same background engaged in the same behavior. So we had great parents, for lack of a better word, but we still chose the wrong route. So I agree that a parent can do everything he or she tries to do to keep a child from out of those situations. But once a child has it in its mind, for whatever reason, and I attribute mine to, peer pressure, music, the gangster lifestyle, the early 90s, then Renee says all of us, unfortunately, all of us were stupid as teenagers. That's right. Yeah, but the problem is when, parents allow their children to keep being stupid, or even condone it or promote it, or and what I mean by bad parenting is parents actually engaging in that behavior together. And it's sad to say, um, and I might get some flack for this comment. A lot of parents are still actively engaged themselves in criminal behavior. And so, when you have children, who are, 15, 16, 17, 18, even 13, 14, and they see what you're doing, you're having people running in and out of the house, no matter how discreet that you try to do it, or, children see and they emulate their parents, and, once again, I probably get some fat, but if you're over 40 years old and you're still out there hustling and willing and dealing, I mean, you may have to check yourself that you as part of the problem too, because in 2024 there are so many different ways to make money, and a lot of money, without engaging in criminal activities, real estate, investment, IT, social media, whatever it is that you have to check yourself if you're still engaged in that lifestyle, and you're, you grandma and grandpa's age, meaning, you got grown age children. And it's hard to, going back to point number one, as far as telling, it's hard for people my age to tell when, you're doing the same thing. It's sort of like the pot calling the kettle black. And that's what I feel happens a lot of times. You can go into a home and teach a kid a valuable lesson, and the parent can unravel everything you've done in minutes. Yes, and that's definitely true too. You know what I mean? Because I I see it a lot. I definitely see it a lot. Trying to work with children, and the things that I want to instill in them is the exact opposite of what they see in their neighborhoods or even in their homes. So that's something I struggle with, even in my own mentorship, and trying to get good children. Yes, I will be going to the council meeting on gun violence, and that is Tuesday at 6:30. So there will be a council meeting for gun violence held at Goldsboro, the Goldsboro City Hall. I think that's Tuesday at 6 or 6:30. I wasn't able to find it on the page. I might try again, but that's definitely something as far as parenting goes, where we have to even check ourselves, especially once again, if you're of the age and you're still out there. I mean, come on, man. And once again, I'm not opposed to anybody getting money. If you out there doing your thing, you getting money, you living quiet, you staying out of the way, you taking care of your kids, your wife, you know what I'm saying? You setting a good example other ways, then then so be it. If that's how you want to live your life. Yeah, and my once again condolences, Miss Langston. I know that was your nephew, that unfortunately lost his life, and that's what we are, here to talk about. How can we prevent these things from happening? Once again, my sincere condolences go out to you and all the members of your family, as well as other families who, been the victim in the recent weeks. So you definitely, are in my heart, even as I speak right now. And that's why we want to just come together and talk about these things, because once again, we don't like to talk about these things until they happen again. And so the city council is having that meeting. It is my understanding that, they're inviting everyone in the community to come and, discuss the issue. But, like I mentioned, the people who need to hear the solutions, they're not going to be at the meeting. Just like, someone mentioned, okay, we can have a lot of speakers, guys like myself, who have been in the streets, guys who have changed their life around, guys who have maybe even, spent 20 or 30 years in prison for, crimes and things. Have those guys come out and, organize a forum, talk to the community, and do those things of that nature, which is, once again, it's all noble. However, the people who are going to need to hear hear that stories, hear these warnings, hear these testimonies, they are not going to come to that meeting. And I know this from personal experience. The only people who are going to come to that meeting or forum or conference are the people who are concerned about the violence in the community. Last year, in the wake of the unfortunate death of the young lady who was killed at the pool party, we had a thing right over there in Tony Weeks Field. We had some great speakers, Mr. John Lane, myself, AJ Thorne, my man Craig from Rocky Mount, some other guy named, man. I can't place his name, but we had 4 great speakers. And we had bouncy houses for the kids, and we had music, DJs, and food. But the only people who showed up were the concerned members of the community. There was a few little kids that I brought and everything, but the people who showed up were not the people who needed to hear what was being said. The people who needed to hear it was out doing the things that they and man, my heart goes out for you. Miss Langston said our houses have been shot up several times, and I'm tired, and I think we all are tired. I can't put myself in your shoes. I've never had that experience. I don't, know what your family's even going through right now. So that's why, I'm so adamant about this, because, I see the pain, I see the hurt, I've seen the cries personally, on several occasions. And so, when you see things like, our lovely sister here, giving her own testimony, about, her family being a victim of this, then that should be cause for everybody to put down the so-called street cred, the so-called street rules, the street code. Just be like, yeah, man, we tired. Nah, y'all can't do this no more. I don't care who don't like it. And once again, when we band together as a community to protect those who are willing to stand up, who are willing to say, yeah, the word around town is such and such did it, then, these things will stop, because they will know that they can't continue to perpetrate these things in a manner, as they are being perpetrated. So there's so many, once again, solutions that have been presented, but the thing is now implementing them. Like I said last year, we had all of these people coming out, the news, all of these, committees being formed. I went to a couple of meetings earlier this year and late last year, but then, nothing comes about because it gets quiet again. The violence stops. And so, okay, well, we had a couple of meetings, everybody's concerned, but then what do you do when the violence kicks back up again? And so that is the reason for, I guess, this meeting, is in response. And we're more reactive than proactive in these situations, rather than being proactive. What other option are we providing for the youth to, change their ways, or, leave the street life alone, or, do certain things differently. If we go out there and tell them to put down the guns and put down the dope, then, we have to have something for them to do to replace that. And so, I just want to, just start once again the conversation, and then, if anyone once again has any ideas, we'll welcome to all. I've received a couple of calls from a couple of brothers who want to sit down and do some things, and that's where we're at. We're bouncing ideas off our head, but I think the number one thing is once again policing our own communities. And it's unfortunate, but no matter who it is, when they do things that cause pain and trauma, like we see, our dear sister talking about, they have to be put out from among us. I won't go so far as what's my man name, Dr. Umar Johnson, talking about violence. He once came under criticism. He was like, well, they gotta, we can't save everybody. Them jokers on the corner, they gotta be put to sleep for good. and I don't, I don't agree with that, because of course, that's just contributing to the things. But and we know some people we not going to save. Some people are going to have to go to jail. Some people are going to have to experience a life changing or life threatening instance to open their eyes up. Hopefully, they'll make it. But the ones that we can save, once again, if we tell on some of these people, or get some of these people to be held accountable for their actions, then we may be once again indirectly saving them from someone else retaliating against them, and then someone else retaliating against them, and then someone else retaliating against them, all because we won't say who's doing what. And so I know that's a hard thing to swallow. That's a hard pill to swallow. But what else are we gonna do? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And so what we've been doing now could be classified as insanity. Now, because we're doing the same thing over and over again, we're reactive instead of proactive. And so, that's all I have for today. But I did that has been on my mind. There's a lot of once again, there's a lot of people offering solutions, and all of the solutions are valuable. They are credible. They will in part, do something, to affect change in this small, close-knit Goldsboro community. As I was talking to somebody a while back, like most of, the individuals who are, you know, out there, they probably went to the same elementary school, the same junior high school, the same middle school. So these are people who, probably have family members who are related, who are married into the same family, and the relationships are so close that everybody is affected, you know, um, on all sides. So we're basically, once again, we're participating in our own destruction. It's also fratricide or genocide, when you destroy members of your own family. And so, if we look at it like that, like everybody in this town is pretty much related everywhere I go. people know my, oh yeah, I went to school with your daddy. Your daddy and my brother, they were best friends, and your auntie, she married my, you know what I'm saying? It's things like that. And so if you go down the line of all of these conflicts, you'll probably see some relation into, each individual who have been, engaged in, these violent acts. They're in some way connected. They're some way, related. 6 degrees of separation. As they said, if you dig deep enough, you're going to find a connection to the individual right in your face, whether I'm in Goldsboro or I'm in New York. So um, those are my thoughts for today, man. Y'all feel free to leave more comments. My number is once again 919-587-7782. I offer condolences to all of the families who have once again experienced these things all the way back once again to the early 90s. And once again, I was, involved in some situations that, you know, were very, were very, disturbing, similar to these. But, one thing I know that, the individuals that I know who have committed these acts, they had no idea. I actually had one friend who talked about when he, unfortunately took someone's life. He was telling me the story, and he said, when I came to, I thought, what have I done? What did I just do? Meaning, he wasn't himself. And once again, we go back to the spiritual thing. He was possessed by whatever demon, whether the demon came from the music, whether from the marijuana smoke, whether from the alcohol. All of those contain, spirits that influence you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And so, I myself can attest to that. I'd be like, what, I'm sitting in jail. I'm like, what what was I doing? What was I thinking? And that goes to, once again, the spiritual aspect of it. So we definitely got to stay prayed up. I know I don't like when people say that, oh yeah, my prayers are with you. It's praying time. Yeah, always praying time, but it's also doing time. It's doing time. It's being time. Being a better example. Being there for the youth who are headed that way. So we can't discount the spiritual aspect of it, but we are two-part beings. We're spirit and physical. So while we pray in the spirit, we also must do things in the physical that must manifest, the change. That scripture, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and then the last part, turn from your wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven and heal the land. Then, and I don't want to preach a sermon or nothing, but yes, prayers, definitely prayers, to both families, the Sanders and the Langston families, and everyone connected to them as well. But it's definitely a spiritual aspect to all of these things that we can't deny, and that comes from, once again, the devil comes but to steal, kill, and destroy. And we allow, the devil to rule in our hearts, rule in our minds, by the things we put in our hearts and put in our minds, or the feelings that we harbor, um, against each other. And once again, I'm just like everybody else. I have ill feelings sometimes. I have ill will. I do things out of selfishness sometimes. So I'm not speaking from a holier than thou position. But I'm speaking from a spirit of love and truth. You know, this is truth that we're speaking. It's time out for this. Ain't nobody else tired, like Miss Langston said. Ain't nobody else tired. It's draining. You know what I'm saying? It's mentally draining. It's summertime. I want to have fun and go to the beach, and people are calling and say, what can we do? What What do we do? What do you think? Well, this is what I think you should do. Do you know this, that, and the other? People calling from Arizona, people calling from, from Colorado, people calling from Seattle, saying, man, yeah, man, I'll be in town, such and such and such, man. We got to sit down and figure out what to do. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at, man. We got to sit down and figure out what to do. It's all well and good if anybody can make that city council meeting, and that is this Tuesday. And let me go ahead and get that correct date for y'all. Okay, let me see. Let me see what we got here. Ah, man. Okay, so I still can't for some reason find it, but I know it's this Tuesday at 6:30, and if anybody comes, and once again, don't quote me. I know it's 6 or 6:30. You can go on the City of Goldsboro page, which I don't know why I can't find it. Okay, let me see if this works. Okay, City of Goldsboro. Okay, yeah, a special meeting. I'm sorry. I'm glad I looked it up. It's going to be at 6 p.m. At City Hall. And once again, everyone is available. Everyone is welcome to attend. So if y'all ain't doing nothing, hopefully, from what I understand, they're not going to be allowing a public comment period, which, I guess they have their reasons for that. But we can't depend on them once again to solve our problems. We can't depend on police to solve our problems. We can't depend on the federal government or the sheriff office or some special task force to solve the problems going on. And let's be honest, in the black community, these shootings are happening in the black community. So while it's all hands on deck are welcome, but like I said, the change starts with us, within. And so I thank y'all for tuning in, and I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. And yeah, I don't know what that so meant, but and there's a lot of ignorant people too, that is part of the problem. Just a lot. It looks like people like to see drama. People like to see destruction. People like to see others hurt. Like, the other day when I did video, people was like, "Well, yeah, I'm glad somebody finally got you, and I'm glad, it's about time they got you." I'm like, why would you wish destruction on me? Like, I haven't done anything to anybody. I'm just talking about these issues and trying to bring light in a dark world, and people will try to make something out of nothing that is not, but fortunately, and I myself have to learn how to not, feed into that, because, that's once again a distraction of the devil. But yeah, okay, B, I appreciate you, because you was like, so I was like, what do you mean, so what I say to get you to say so? But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, 919-587-7782. If you have any information that you may want to, give, or any ideas, man, we are all for it, man. But I certainly thank y'all. Hope y'all have a blessed and safe, prosperous day. The day has been a wonderful day. Nobody's called me and said, "Hey, what's happening over there?" So that is a good sign. Hopefully, it will stay that way, and hopefully, it will continue to stay that way. But I thank y'all for tuning in once again. Much love, much peace, much comfort to all of those who are suffering in this time. All of those who are grieving. Also, if you are a mental health counselor, a grief counselor, and you want to offer your assistance to any one of the families who have been recently affected or not so recently affected, feel free once again to reach out. 919-587-7782. I don't know how this grief counseling works. If from my, from just my logic, I don't know if it's needed right now, or a month down the line, because I know, I wouldn't want to, nobody talking to me about handling grief in a situation. Like, leave me alone right now, but I don't know. I'm not a grief counseling professional, so if you do want to offer your services, I've had people, saying that the families will need some comfort, some grief counseling, some assistance in getting through this. So feel free once again to reach out. My name is 919-587-7782. Once again, if you are able, willing, ready, and available to attend that meeting at 6 p.m., look forward to seeing y'all there at the Goldsboro City Hall. So hopefully we can, give them support while they try to figure out ways that we can, establish a more safer, a more prosperous or more peaceful city. But I thank y'all for tuning in. God bless y'all. Good night. Good evening.